Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is. Hello, 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 good morning. I am live on day 4 of our mini clean sweep, and we are clearing it all away. Yesterday, I got carried away in those download files, y'all. I had over 500 of them, and I could not stop myself like I thought I would at 8:30 because I was making such good progress, and I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I knew I could clear them all out if I would just stay put for a little bit longer. So really and truly, I could look at them pretty quickly and decide, keep, toss, where does it need to go? One of the questions I found myself asking, asking myself was, do I have this somewhere else already? You know what I mean? Like, some things or bits of information that are still in an email somewhere that I know that I've saved it. It was something I downloaded from an email. Or if it was a Teachers Pay Teachers file, you can always download those again from your purchases. So really, I could delete them and not worry about them. And if I want them, I can go and get them from there. So it really was a very quick process. So many of the images that I had were for temporary purposes. I needed them for a very specific thing. It might have been an announcement I was making on Class Dojo or something. And I use Canva a lot to make those images. So that means that they're still, guess where? In my Canva account. So even though I have to download them in order to use them in the places that I want them in, I don't have to keep them in folders or anywhere on my computer because they're in the cloud somewhere. Cloud storage is a beautiful, beautiful thing. But that's behind me now, and I'm ready for day 4. And in day 4, let's take a look at what we're going to be dealing with. You've already seen my little promo image, so you know today's the day we get into our email. If you've ever done the challenge with me before, then you know that we often spend an entire week just in our email, because let's face it, this is the place that is probably the most prone to being cluttered. One of the biggest places. And it takes a little more to get through because we've got stuff coming at us from all these different directions. And sometimes something about email is just a lot harder to determine. Is this junk? Might I need it someday? How long should I hold on to this for? And all of those kinds of things. So today we're going to deal in three main things. We're not really going to be trying to sort through our inbox or any of those kinds of things. But I did link in the guide 3, I linked several older videos, last year's videos. If there are parts of your email you want to try to tackle that is not what I'm talking about right here, the email drafts, templates, and spam. Email is a place when it comes to for me, for work purposes. Now, I can't speak to my personal email. That's a whole other story. I stress less about my personal email and keeping it clutter-free than my work one. And I don't know if anyone else out there feels the same way. I would love to know how you feel about it. If all your email makes you feel the same way, or if you have different mindset, depending on which one you're looking at. When it comes to my school account, where I'm doing my day-to-day grind of communicating with people. Because remember, I teach online. I've remained online. And so everything we do is digital. The communication is all completely digital in one way or another. So I am really particular about keeping that email cleaned out. So that inbox, I didn't have that open because I wasn't going to focus there for you today, because I do keep it clean. Let me see if I can open it up here with you. Let's see. I don't want to stay here too long because it's not where I'm going to focus my time. It's not one. Let me see. Is it opening? Yeah, there we go. All right. Let me switch over. Okay. So it's opening. Now you're going to see a couple of things. Number one, I'm in my inbox right now. Let me switch over because I was in a label, but this is my inbox. Yeah, sure, it's spring break, but look, everything's clean and cleared out of my inbox. There's nothing in the unread category, and that's how I like it. That's how I like it. I have a vacation responder message turned on for the week. So everybody that emails me gets an automatic reply telling them, hey, I'm not really here right now, but I'll get back to you next week. So that's how I like my email to look, right? That's not going to be real helpful today when we're talking about dealing with email drafts, templates, and spam, though. So let's take a look at my personal email, one of them. That's the other thing is I have way too many email addresses. I don't know who else is with me on this, but if I started counting them all up, I think I'd have to use two hands, which is a sad, sad thing, but it's the facts. Maybe that's a whole other topic. How do you organize your email when you have multiple email accounts, and how do you keep track and not miss things? Because that's a whole other topic, everybody, but it's probably a worthy one. So right now I have 25 unread inbox messages, and probably a lot of them are junk. I could go through and get rid of a lot of these really fast, but that's not what I'm trying to do right now. I wanted to focus on drafts, templates, and spam. And you've probably heard me say before how easy it is to end up with some drafts you didn't even realize were there. So I'm going to go into my drafts. There are 7 drafts, and they're all kind of older. They're all more than a year old. September 2020, September 2021 is the most recent draft. So most of these are probably going to be empty. There are like 3 of them right here, no subject, 2 more, no subject. There's really only 2 that I have a feeling have much of anything in them, but let me just double check. Yep, that's a nothing. So easy enough to delete. This one, something I never sent to another person, delete that. So a lot of times they'll have the recipient of who I was getting ready to email, but they don't always even have that. This one is just completely empty. So no need for that. All right. I was like, who is that even? All right, I remember what that is, but that's unnecessary. Let's see. Another totally empty draft. Okay, we're going to get rid of that. Let's imagine that this one right here is one that I want to still use for some things. I know some people who keep it in their draft just like this, and they just come here and they copy it, and then they go over and they create and they compose a new email using that stuff, using that information. So they save their draft to be a template by always having it in draft mode and just copying and pasting it. And that works. That absolutely works. And you can see how it popped up as soon as you start working on an email. It pops up in your draft mode. So anytime you get distracted and pulled away, that's when you end up with these drafts that you didn't even know you had. Okay, so I recommend a different way of having a template in my drafts. And that way it's not actually in your drafts. It's literally just a template. So the 3 dots right here for more options allow it to make templates usually. Now, I'm not seeing it in this mode, probably because I probably don't have it turned on in my personal email. So that would be another good reason why I would want to leave it in draft mode and just do a copy paste. In my school email, there's an option to turn this into templates. And I have a whole video on that, so I won't go searching for this right now. I'll link that up in guide number 3. I'll find that one and I'll add that one so that you'll have it. So if you wanted to keep this and you wanted it to be an actual template that you can just open up and use a template, then it's usually under these 3 dots if that's an option for you. Otherwise, you can keep it as a template. If you know that that's how you want to use this, you could keep it in your drafts. But what I would probably do is I would name it in the subject line so that I knew this was my template, so that I wouldn't actually accidentally come back in and delete it out at some point. So that's how I would handle it personally. But there's no right and wrong way to do this either, as with everything. So everybody do your own thing when it comes to storing these things, right? I'm gonna look at this really quick because I have a feeling I don't need this anymore. Okay, so there's kind of an email thread going on here, and I started to respond again, but I either never did or I responded in a different way. So I'm going to get rid of that also because that was really, really old. All right, my drafts are done. I've dealt with drafts. There were 7 of them. I'm going to keep this one. So I've talked about how to do templates a little bit and ways to use your draft area for templates. So the other thing I want to check is spam. Now, this is more important to check on my school account than my personal one, in my opinion, because sometimes you might get spam. You might get an important email that gets filtered out through your work filters, through the school filters and things, that really isn't spam. It might be one of your a student parent, a student's parent, or something like that, right? So I just like to check this every so often. I've got 81 potential spam. The thing is if it stays here in spam for 30 days, it will be deleted automatically. So if you aren't checking your spam at least once a month, you might completely miss and completely lose something that actually needed your attention. So I do set reminders for myself. I've got an older video on how I do that too. If that's not already included in Guide 3, I'll see if I can find that and link it up also, because every 30 days or so, a reminder pops up on my tasks and tells me, hey, you're supposed to be checking your spam to make sure there's nothing important in it. And it's a really quick scan. I mean, you can tell by the subject line, you can tell by the person if there's anything here that is important. So many of these are just really spammy anyhow, you know? I can't sleep, I blame you. Seriously? Yeah, no. Hello, hi, dear. Yeah, no. So many of these are obviously trying to scam you and spam you. So many of these. Sometimes these will make you wonder a little bit, where it says like billing and things. But if it's something you know you aren't really doing, keep on scrolling, keep on scrolling, keep on going. I do things with Boom Learning, but this is really just an advertisement, so don't need that. A subscription renewal. I don't know what that is for sure, but if it renewed and I subscribe to it, then it's probably fine. Let me just look at that one real quick. Why is it in spam? Oh, it's some Norton thing. Honestly, a lot of times those Norton ones are not really Norton. I don't know if you've experienced it, but when you look at the email address and things, you can then tell it's not really Norton. And I don't subscribe to Norton, so. Okay, let's see. Keep on going. No. Not seeing anything on this screen that looks important to me. So here I go. I'm going to click that checkbox. And the reason I'm going to go ahead and delete forever is because this way, when I do it, I don't have to wonder if there's anything in it that I've missed. So anything else that now pops up, I know I haven't taken a peek at and looked at to see if I think it's important. If I just wait and let Google continue to automatically delete for me, then I may, when I come in here, I may wonder, have I looked at this lately? Are these new things? Do I really have to go through all of them all over again? This way, if I come through and I clean it out every time I come here, I know it's something I haven't looked at before and I haven't already reviewed. If I review them and then I let them sit there and I let Google deal with them, then I'm reviewing them every time I come in here. So that's just my way of going in and making sure that I get it dealt with and done. So because I'm in my personal one, I'm going to come back because it's going to drive me crazy if I don't do it. I'm going to come back. I'm going to go through and I'm going to weed out some of these emails. You can see my inbox has 1,600 emails. I have not sorted this email the same way that I do. What I tend to do in my personal email truly is I try to go through and delete the things that I don't care about. I try to mark them and trash them. And I try to only keep in my inbox things that I think I might want to go back to. But I do have lots of labels. You can see I did create a lot of labels, but I'm not as diligent these days when it comes to my personal inbox. I'm just not as diligent about moving things because I find that I can search for them and find them easy enough. If I'm looking for something specific, I can just search for it. So I don't worry about it as much in my personal one. I'm much more particular about my school account. But like I said, keep it simple. I'm not trying to spend tons of time. I'm mostly done here, really and truly honest. I'm gonna clean up a little bit of things that stare me in the face on my personal one and call it a day on this email because my school email is cleaned up. Now I know that's not the case for everybody, and some of you are gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, but I've got to deal with all these things. It's driving me nuts." Okay, well, chunk it. Like do little things first. Do the drafts, the templates, the spam thing. Do that first and walk away and feel successful about it. And then maybe take a look at guide 3 and pick one thing or something. And this may take you into next week where I'm really sticking to my guns and doing these 5 tasks and going to walk away and feel good about them. I encourage you to do the same kind of thing. Pick the task, stick to it, walk away from it, and feel good about it. Don't get yourself bogged down into it. You know my motto, don't let this be a stressing point for you. That's not what this is about, okay? So try some of that. If you have questions for me, you know how to find me right here in Facebook or reach out to me in an email, heather@kaisertechunlimited.com. I'm on Twitter @TechnoTeacher. So you can find me lots of places, lots of ways. Some of you have my phone number and you can just reach out and text me. That's totally cool. I want you to feel good about cleaning up your digital spaces. Ultimately, I want you to do the things that make you feel good, that are freeing to you, so that when you open something up, whatever part of your digital space, it's not overwhelming and stressful and frustrating. And I promise every little step you take towards that is that much closer and feels that much better. So don't beat yourself up about it when you say, I have so much stuff. I have 84 gig in my drive or whatever it might be. I have 5,000 emails in my inbox. It's okay. We've been there. We've all been there. So just take it a little chunk at a time. Be specific in the task you're going to do. Don't try to accomplish all of it at once, and set yourself a timer and limit yourself, especially if you're trying to clear out something that has a whole lot in it, or if you're one of those people that just really needs to open and look at everything. You can't just decide by the subject line or who it's from or whatever it might be. So if that's the case, set yourself a timer. Say, I'm willing to do 20 minutes, or I have 30 minutes here, or maybe I only have 10 minutes, or maybe I'm going to be sitting in the car waiting for somebody from the doctor's office and I can do this from my phone and I can pull up my account on my phone and I can work my way through it a little bit while I'm waiting for however long that might be. All of those are options for ways to get through this and feel better in the end about your digital space. That's the goal. That's always the goal. Feel better about it. not worse. All right. I'll see you tomorrow for my 5th task during my spring break on our mini clean sweep. Hope you'll join me. Remember, you can always catch the replays. And I want to hear about your progress. I want to hear your successes, even if they're small. Let's celebrate together. That part always makes us feel good too. All right. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you soon.